Welcome to Tanri Abeng University Indonesia, Pak Rob and Ibu Sheryl. We have James Cordiner, my bro from Australia as well. Welcome, bro.
Halo, selamat pagi semua.
Yeah, and the last speaker, we have my new bro, Ruben Demen. We just connected with him a few days ago through Pak Rob. Welcome, bro.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On this occasion, I also invited friend from Initiative of Change Indonesia as local partner in organizing this event. They are Miftahul Huda, Yofrina. Welcome, both of you.
Good morning, everyone.
And I would like as well to welcome all the participants, especially my beloved student, for joining this webinar series too. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we go further, I would like to start this webinar by singing Indonesian national anthem. The timing for this webinar is coincidental with the birthday of our beloved country Indonesia in 75 years after we got independent. In Indonesia, we call it Merdeka. Let's sing together and enjoy it.
You are still on mute. Okay.
Can you hear my voice?
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. This webinar series 2 initiative by two organizations, TAU Language Center and Initiative of Change Indonesia. TAU Language Center is part of Tanri Abeng University that provide language service to support the vision of Tanri Abeng University in producing career-ready professionals. The main program of TAU Language Center is to provide language learning, language training, and certification. We also empower TAU students to enhance their quality in language skill, as well as to promote a model of language teaching. Well, you may also curious to know what is initiative of change. So at this occasion, I would like to request my friend Yofrina, as representative of Initiative of Change Indonesia, to say few words. Welcome, Yofrina.
Thank you, Ma'am. A very good morning, dear friends, and good day to our IofC Australia family, and happy Independence Day. I am Yofrina from Initiatives of Change Indonesia. I feel glad to join this webinar and to share with all of you. As a quote said, the more we share, the more we have. In 2011, I met Initiative of Change through my friend's Facebook. It was also my first time joining one of the IofC programs called Youth Leadership Camp, which was held in Garut, West Java. Banyak hal yang saya pelajari selama Youth Camp, belajar tentang honesty, purity, unselfishness, dan love. Di IofC kita diajak untuk melakukan refleksi yang mendalam, atau yang kita kenal dengan istilah quiet time. When we listen to what is deepest in our hearts, insight often come which lead us in unexpected directions. Melalui quiet time, saya belajar 3 hal. Yang pertama, connection. I learn to take times with myself. Dan yang kedua, correction. I find out what I need to put right. Dan yang ketiga, direction. I follow my heart so that I can know which way I should go. Dear friends, IofC is not only networking of people of diverse cultures and backgrounds, but it's also a way of life. Di IofC saya bertemu dan berinteraksi dengan orang-orang yang sangat menginspirasi, seperti para pembicara kita hari ini, Pak Rob, Ibu Cheryl, James, dan Ruben, people who have been living IofC in their lives. Seperti tema kita hari ini. Di IofC kita percaya bahwa perubahan dimulai dari diri sendiri. Change starts with me. Siapapun kita bisa melakukan sesuatu untuk perubahan positif, dimulai dari hal kecil. As Mother Teresa said, small things done with great love will change the world. Melalui kesempatan ini, saya juga ingin mengajak teman-teman untuk bertumbuh dan belajar bersama-sama untuk menciptakan perdamaian dimulai dari diri sendiri. Melakukan refleksi dan mendengarkan suara hati adalah salah satu cara untuk mengintrospeksi diri dan membentuk kita menjadi pribadi yang lebih baik. Dear friends, di IofC Indonesia selama pandemi, kita belajar untuk saling mendengarkan melalui virtual Saturday gathering. Through virtual gatherings, we can listen, share, and support each other. We have been connecting with new friends and reconnecting with our old friends who bring positive energy into our online gatherings. On behalf of IofC Indonesia, I warmly welcome you to join our online gatherings and of course hope to meet you face to face soon. We regularly share the update of IofC activities and stories of change in our website and social medias. Teman-teman silakan mengunjungi website IofC Indonesia, id.iofc.org, dan sosial media kita di @iofc.indonesia. Well, dear friends, in the end of my sharing, I would like to end with a saying, change starts with you, but it doesn't start until you do. Thank you, terima kasih, salam merdeka.
And he has amazing and energetic spirit, especially when he works with young people. The second speaker is Cheryl Wood. Cheryl is a trained teacher who has worked full-time with Initiative of Change for the past 45 years. She previously ghosted her book, IofC Publishing Arm, as well as living in community at IofC Australia Pacific Center for 28 of those years. Her work is built around a lifelong sense of calling to build bridges between peoples in Australia and other countries in the region. She served on the IofC Australia board for 21 years. While the third speaker, the younger one, my bro James Cordiner. He is IT developer, system architect, and now in the process of learning to be a life coach or trainer. He used to stay in South Jakarta and visited our campus, TIU, for a few years ago. James has a passion in technology, and he has also tremendous experiences working with young people across Asia, such as in Japan, China, and Indonesia. The fourth speaker, Ruben Demen. He is a writer, artist, and communicator. He enjoys connecting with people, sharing stories, and collaborating with others to make art. He is also a young, energetic guy who is also one of the alumni of Life Matter Workshop, which is organized by Initiative of Change Australia. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our guest speaker with a big applause. Okay, Pak Rob, Bu Cheryl, James, and Ruben, now time is yours.
Selamat pagi. Nama
Pagi.
saya Rob Wood. Saya orang Australia. Now let me continue in my own language, as I understand this is meant to be an English language class. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
To start with, let me say how delighted we are to be able to join you today. This is my 5th visit to Indonesia, a country I love and have many friends in. Some of them, of course, are here today. And we are especially glad to be with you on this anniversary of Indonesia's independence. But this is the only time that I'm visiting Indonesia without any passport or visa. And in a way, I can say that I am in Indonesia and I'm at home, in my home at the same time. So how about that? I am the product of an Australian mother and a Scottish father. So I call myself a Scotralian. And I grew up at both ends of the world. So I had some identity issues I needed to deal with, to start with. When I was 17, I joined the University of Life, and I am still an undergraduate of that institution. I still feel I have so much to learn. About the same time, when I was 17, I got involved with Initiatives of Change and that has been my full-time voluntary work until now. For the first 7 or 8 years, I traveled with 3 different musical shows created and presented by our organization. The largest of these productions had a cast of 80. We were invited to 30 different countries and lived in thousands of homes during our 4 years together. A highlight was the welcome to Malaysia by the Prime Minister at that time on the anniversary of their worst race riots to help rebuild the trust between those divided communities. Sometime later, I met the love of my life. She's sitting next to me. You know who she is. And together, we helped to host an international community house in Melbourne. And that was our home for 28 years. At around the same time, we got involved in running life direction and leadership programs for people from all over Australia and around the Asia Pacific region. And we are still part of teams organizing those workshops now. We do that because we believe that investing in people is a really good way to help create a better future. I also have a few hobbies that I enjoy. I'm sure all of us today have hobbies. One of mine is jogging, and I do that every day. A second is that I breed small parrots. I wonder if we can see the picture of the parrots. Can you see?
Ari, can you help to display the birds?
The reason I left before was to take the small parrot out of this room because it started to make a lot of noise.
Anyway, they are a very cheerful and colorful addition to our lives. My third hobby is music. And I love playing the guitar, singing in different languages, and writing songs with a message. You will hear a couple of those songs this morning. My fourth hobby, which I discovered during my time in India, is water divining. I can find water, running water, under the ground with the aid of a copper wire or a Y-shaped stick. Can you see that? I can use that to find running water.
Running water.
Yeah, that's right. And you hold it like that. And it bends to meet the water. It's been really helpful for tracking water in dry places where the need is great.
Salamat pagi. My name is Cheryl Wood, and as he said, I'm the wife of Rob. This is my third visit to Indonesia, and I'm very grateful and happy to be here with you today. Indonesia is Australia's largest neighbour, and I believe our countries, our nations, are meant to work together more in the future. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up on a farm on the edge of a very small village. There were only 40 children in my whole primary school. When I finished my schooling, there were only 3 choices, well, actually 4, of what I might do in life. I could marry a farmer and become a farmer's wife, or I could become a secretary, a nurse, or a teacher. My sister became a nurse and I became a teacher. Teaching took me to Melbourne, the city of our state, to a school in a very poor area. In Australia, we call these areas low socio-economic areas, but truthfully, they are simply the poor areas of our city. The life that many of these children lived in Australia, which is such a rich country, shocked me. So I decided I wanted to see what other countries were like. So after 3 years teaching in this school, I traveled to many different countries. Everywhere I went, there seemed to be poor areas and the same challenges facing every city and town. Then I went to an Initiatives of Change international conference, and I saw people of very different backgrounds, religions, and cultures being treated equally. This, I felt, was how the world was meant to be. That whatever your skin color, your beliefs, your religion, or your culture, every human being deserves to be treated with equal respect. So I resigned from teaching to work with Initiatives of Change. After a time, we married, and as Rob said, for many years we lived in a big community home. We welcomed many people from Indonesia to this home. We now live in our own home, and when we are not in lockdown with COVID-19, we often have people staying with us, and we always have people visiting. Just personally, I love playing the piano. I like reading, knitting, sewing, cooking, and gardening. Often there are not enough hours in the day to do all the things I would really like to do. And I would pass it to James. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie Cheryl. Selamat Hari Kemerdekaan semua. Happy Independence Day. Saya senang bisa ketemu dengan semua di Zoom. And nama saya James dari Sydney, Australia. Saya tinggal di Jakarta 4 tahun yang lalu untuk volunteering. Jadi saya bisa bicara bahasa dikit-dikit ya. And now I'll switch to English, I think. I really, appreciated my time when I was in Indonesia. People are so, friendly and warm. And although it's 4 years ago, I still, want to go back. And actually, true story, I was there only for 3 months, but because I was so kind of overwhelmed by generosity and friendship from Indonesian friends, that when I came home to Sydney, I changed my church to find a new church that had more Indonesians in it, so I could still experience Indonesian friends. I work now in in the finance and IT. That's my my day job. And because of, COVID, I think like many of you people are also like working remotely. And because I'm in IT, I can have my 2 big screens up here and still be able to work. So I feel very grateful to still have a job. And I've also started, studying coaching, and like exploring new ways where I can perhaps, make a difference, even, online, or help others during this COVID season. Got a few hobbies. Similar to my Uncle Rob and Adishiro, I like music, and I also like to learn languages. My Bahasa is not very good, but I like my Japanese is much better. And I hope to come and visit again soon. I miss the warm weather as well. It's very cold here. Semoga saya nanti bisa ke Indonesia lagi dan ketemu you all. Terima kasih. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Ruben. I thought today perhaps that I'd be able to see you all, but I think that that would be a little difficult on Zoom. I can see there's 67 participants at the moment. So to have you all on the screen would be a lot, but I understand you're here. You can hear us, so that's great. So hello to everyone. Happy Independence Day. Today is a pretty lovely day in Melbourne. As you can see, there's all this light coming in from behind me here. It's really nice to join you. So just a little bit about my story. In my bio here, it says that I'm an artist and a communicator. I have mainly been, over the last 5 years or so, composing music for ensembles as well as film. At the moment, I'm working on a documentary on the pyramids in Egypt and writing a few short little clips to accompany the background of the documentary. I also collaborate with drawing and with theatre as well. So I often have music in the background of theatre performances and like to draw as well. So that's somewhat a part of my identity, but at the moment it's kind of been shifted a little bit due to the lockdown circumstances in Melbourne. So a lot of my time has been spent in the yard outside here, reading and thinking and speaking to friends, and to be honest, I've been doing a lot more sort of being, and found that I've calmed down a lot and don't feel like I need to be doing things all the time and engaging myself in all sorts of different projects to keep myself busy. And so I think I've been exploring just sitting with myself and having quiet time with myself and reflecting. This is something I often do with Rob when we have nice meetings up in Alma down the road in Melbourne, and something that I have also learned to appreciate through initiatives of change when I took part in the Life Matters course last year now. So it's really been nice to sort of be forced to stay at home and focus on other parts of living and bring that into the fore. But I'm very glad we have programs like Zoom. Otherwise, we would be very disconnected from the rest of the world. So it's great to have this opportunity today to still remain connected with other people. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Yeah.
Thank you, my bro, Robin. At the beginning, Pak Rob mentioned about the two songs that he composed. So before I let them to continue about the stories, I would like to present one of his song and the title "Everyone Has a Story." So this song is composed by Rob Wood. We believe that everyone is special and has a story to share. Ari, can you help us to show that song and enjoy it?
Okay.
Everyone has a story, a tale to be told, both laughter and tears, its memories hold, of precious experience we've had on our way, that make us the people who we are today. The past is a treasure that we cannot share. Its learning can lead us and help us to care. Everyone has a story, a tale to be told, of laughter and tears, its memories hold, of precious experience we've had on our way, that made us the people who we are today. With hearts that are listening, we're sure to find out what each other's journey is really about. Everyone has a story, a tale to be told, of laughter and tears, its memories hold, of precious experience we've had on our way, that make us the people who we are today, that make us the people who we are today.
Wow, very beautiful song. Pak Rob, can you continue again your session?
Sure, certainly. Thank you. The theme of this morning's session is change starts with me. And I would like to start with a short story which relates to this point. A young boy wanted to play with his father, but his father was very busy reading his newspaper and didn't want to be disturbed. So noticing a map of the world on the front of the newspaper, he tore it up into small pieces and said to his son, "Don't come back until you've put that together again," thinking that that would keep him away for quite a while. You know what? A few minutes later, the son was back with the map completed. His father was really surprised and asked, "How did you do this so quickly?" "Oh," he said, "Dad, it was really easy. on the back of the map, there was a picture of a man. I put the man right, and the world became all right. So, in expressing this, it's not to say that changing the world is easy, or that the problems we face are going to be resolved overnight. No. But it is to say that the human factor in world affairs is important, and a transformation of our motives, our attitudes, and our relationships is needed if we're going to begin to resolve the big issues like climate change or race war that the human family is facing at the moment. So, where do we start with all that? For the answer, I'd like you all, I can't see you, but I'd like you all to try pointing your finger at the person next to you. Can you do that? Just try pointing your finger at the person next to you. What do you see? What do you notice? What do you notice? Well, I notice that there are 3 fingers pointing back at me. So when we point at somebody else, we actually find we are maybe 3 times worse. So that's a clue as to why this session is titled Change Starts With Me. We often want to see other people become different. And it's not unusual for us to blame others for things that go wrong around us. I know, I've done it myself. My father and I, when I was a teenager, had quite a hostile relationship. And I used to blame my bad moods on his hot temper. However, someone wise said to me, as you are, so is your family, so is your community, so is your country, so is the world. When I reflected about that saying, it made sense and led me to ask my father's forgiveness for my moods, my bad moods. That then led him to reduce what we call the heat factor in the way that he spoke to me. And my mum, who used to get caught in the crossfire between us, really appreciated the zone of peace our family had become. So, if we agree that we start with ourselves, how do we do it? I suggest we may need to use a kind of spirit toolkit. Does everybody know what a toolkit is? Something you keep tools in. That we may need a kind of spirit toolkit to make that happen. So let's have a look at the screen again and see what the first slide has to say.
Ari, can you help to show the slide?
Okay, there's the toolkit. But this is not too fast. This is a toolkit for transformation. So then we can move on now. Next, please. Next slide. So the first thing for me was to start experimenting with the idea of seeking wisdom through inner listening. The last slide was about inner listening, seeking the wisdom of the heart. And as I developed that habit, I also began to find direction for my day and also for my life. So this is the next slide on honesty. Cheryl.
Oh, no, please stay on. That's right. Thanks, Ali. This value of absolute honesty really challenged me when I first came across the idea of initiatives of change. I immediately knew my relationship with my parents was not absolutely or at all honest. When I moved to Melbourne after the first year in Melbourne, I was very lonely as my best friend had gone overseas. Then I met a boy who liked me very much, and I rather liked him. But I knew my parents would not really like him for various reasons. And I also knew I didn't want to marry him, but I kept the relationship. When I was honest with myself about wanting to change, I knew the first place to start was with my parents. I had to be honest with them about this boy in my life and our relationship. It took all the courage I had to do this, and they felt hurt for a start. But then gradually it built an open and very trusting relationship with them, even to the point where my father came to seek my advice on a very challenging family issue.
So can we have the next slide, please? Absolute purity. Purity adds clarity to our relationships and helps us understand our motivations for better or worse. When we first became a couple, if we had a row, clash with each other, I would say to Cheryl, "I'm sorry," but actually my intention was to get her to apologize to me. Have any of you done that? It was very insincere and was often not accepted until I made it unconditional, an unconditional sorry. So honesty and purity can give us the eyes to see ourselves, to see others, to see everything as they really are. Next slide, please.
Absolute unselfishness. This is sometimes very clear to see and do. Do I let the person behind me in the supermarket queue who has only one thing to buy when I have a lot of things to buy, do I let that person go ahead of me? Of course I let them go ahead. That's easy. But then what is harder for me are the situations where I would really like to lead a lecture or a session. And this has happened. My colleague would really like to lead this lecture too. So I stepped aside and let her lead, and she did a really good job. So then, could I congratulate her and tell her how well she really did? I found it hard to be generous in my spirit and tell her how well she'd done. But once I did, I knew how important it was to both her and to my spirit. And that is at the bottom of the slide, it says, help us find the strength of will to serve others rather than ourselves and offer care. And that was what I did in that situation. But I don't get a medal for doing it because I found it hard to do.
Next slide, please. Absolute love. Love, if it has no limits, has the power to change us and to change our world in a very deep way. I mentioned that I spent time in India, and at one point in my time in India, I realized I was guilty of racial stereotyping because I had blamed a whole community for the negative behavior I had experienced at the hands of a few individuals from that community. Apologizing for this attitude to someone from that community released me from that prejudice. And it also confirmed that I wanted to be someone who helped to build bridges of trust between communities and countries, instead of building walls that keep people apart. Next slide, please.
Things right is not always easy, especially if you are like me and have what I call pride. I wonder if you've ever looked at the English spelling of the word pride. What letter do you see in the middle? An I. So before we can work out what we need to put right, you have to move the I, the self, the ego, out of the middle of the picture. Another practice that is really wise when we need to put things right is to find a friend, someone you really trust, and share the situation with them and maybe what you feel you need to do. Often another person's I or mind sees a different side of a situation. For example, when I apologized to my parents for hiding part of my life behind their backs, I didn't think about how my honesty would affect them. In the beginning, it really hurt them and divided us. And if I had done it differently, more caringly, this could have been much kinder and softer for them. At the same time, it was vitally important that I did share the truth with them. And as I look back, I realized what a positive impact it had on our whole family and how much the quality of our family life was improved and maintained. And that's not something I take for granted. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the end of the slideshow. But I think maybe James and Ruben may have
Ari, that
something
was
they'd like.
showered letter, Ari.
Yeah, may have something they'd like to add to what we've shared. So over to you guys, if you have something.
Sure, I can share a bit about my life story and journey.
Mhm.
So, you know, when although I look, you know, like a uni student, actually it was now quite a while ago when I was a, you know, a uni student like you all. And I'm not sure about you, but, you know, I didn't really have much idea what I wanted to do. I picked some random subjects that I got good marks in. I knew, you know, that I wanted to make a difference, but I didn't really know how. I was a very shy person, like very not sure of myself. I'm like, who am I to make a difference, you know? How can I be the change in the world? You know, so I was you know, like out of school, I was a good student, got my good grades, was a good boy who went to a good church. You know, I tick all the boxes, but inside I wasn't very happy. And I'd get very anxious. I'm not sure if some people might identify with this when you're in like a big, like a social group, or you're just feeling like I don't belong, I don't fit in, just wanting to, you know, stay safe. And one day, one of my friends invited me to this, you know, 3-day intensive course where we got to learn about ourselves and our behavior. And what I realized was, you know, what I thought was me, like just being a shy person and things and being anxious and stuff, was just something that I guess I was born with. But actually, it's something that we develop, you know, in our childhood and in our past. And I realized that, you know, being shy was a kind of a skill that I used in order to survive, to stay safe, you know, to not get in trouble with the teacher, or, you know, to be the good kid. And then funny thing was, when I was like doing this, what you call like introspection, or looking into myself, I realized like when I was 5 years old, actually I used to stand up in front of the class and be the news reporter. You know, I could be anyone I wanted to be. And then I realized, oh, okay, in that case, I wasn't born with it. And then all of a sudden I had that freedom to choose to be something else, to change in order to be a more freer, self-expressed version of me. And that began my journey and realization that actually I can change even some of my behaviors and my personality. I can become more myself. And I still actually struggled with anxiety though, and came to a point where I was so afraid that at one stage I couldn't even leave the house because I was just too afraid to go outside anymore. And I realized like that was a really tricky situation. And it was a real struggle for me to, you know, take those steps to get help from a doctor, to get help from people, to put up my hand and say, actually, you know, I'm not doing so well. And that was a long journey of realizing that, you know, there are other people out there who can help, that it's good to develop healthy habits like exercise. And I now do like a daily practice of gratitude, and to like train my mind and train myself. And I realized that there's these areas that I can work on to constantly, you know, keep building myself and you know, be here today where I can speak in front of you. And yes, I'm still, you know, very nervous, like I'm shaking, but you know, it's not going to, I won't let it stop me. And more recently, I've realized that, you know, I didn't, like I mentioned before, I didn't really know what I wanted to do or what I could do to, you know, make the difference. But it's become more and more clear that to have that outward focus, like we are here, I am here to give and to make a difference and be a blessing for others. And you know, I've become much more passionate and alive when I can live my highest values of love, you know, absolute love, as we mentioned, of being able to give and to grow and contribute. And, you know, that's why I've started to study coaching, and looking at ways where I can kind of share what I've, you know, my journey with others and help them who are also might be stuck or wanting to get that life direction. And so, yeah, I really feel that, you know, that kind of change starts with me, and then I can then be a change for one other person. And then that one person could be a change for another person, and so on and so on. And I hope one day that, or I hope even now that, you know, you can be that change for yourself and for that one other person, and together, you know, that's how we change the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, James. So it's interesting hearing everyone else's stories, because I think there's little bits that I find that I identify with in, you know, everyone's story. So thanks for sharing. For me, it's a bit of a tricky one, because I think I'm in a bit of a process of quite a big process of change at the moment for myself, and I think we all are. But just in terms of acknowledging my sort of issues in the relationship with my mum. So it's always been, you know, we obviously love each other very much, but we've had our sort of ups and downs, and communicating how we feel to each other and acknowledging each other as people that we really respect. I think we really struggle with that. So so that's something that I'm working through at the moment, and I find it's a difficult one, because you know, you don't know when to be vulnerable and how to be vulnerable, and who and how to trust. And I think that over the last couple of years, I've learned to open up to other people around me, and talk to them and make connections with people, and through that, I've obviously established new friendships and connections, and I think my relationship with my mum has definitely improved as well through that. So it's I've sort of found that I think being vulnerable for me is the most difficult but most empowering way to be as a person. So yeah, sort of lots of learning going on at the moment, but yeah, that's a little bit about me. I think vulnerability and taking responsibility for the way in which you feel and how you think, and not projecting that onto other people, but communicating that to other people, and trying to seek understanding within yourself about that, and then hopefully others will be able to understand too. Yeah.
Thank you, bro, for your sharing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as Yofrina mentioned that in initiative of change, we have a culture to do a quiet time, a moment of silence. So let's try to practice by doing a moment of silence, reflecting what we heard from four speakers in a few minutes. Start now. Thank you. Well, before we continue for question and answer, I would like to present to you one more song composed by our beloved Father Rob Wood with the title Listening. Ari, can you help to display the lyric, the song of listening?
Okay, wait.
Please enjoy it.
Listening to the sea as it crashes on the sand, beating a rhythm all of its own upon the land. The waves crescendo as they roll, their music fills my soul.
Listening to the call of the gulls that swoop and dive. Their joyous cries are making me glad that I'm alive. And as on high they start to soar, their song greets me once more. In nature's realm, there's harmony, away ahead, and home I see the joy of my view so strong, in clashes that seem so long and get me nowhere, just nowhere. Listening to the voice in the stillness of my heart, talking so clearly, showing me just how best to start, to find the freedom from the past, and inner peace at last, and inner peace at last.
Well, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, now is your time to raise question or clarification to our guest speaker. You can also post your question through the chat box here. Okay, I got one more question. I'm Nabila Dian Utami from Business Administration of Tanri Abeng University. I would like to ask to you, what should we do if people around us doesn't support or don't want to support us to make a change? What should we do if the people around us do not support our initiative to bring a change? So this is the question from Nabila. Majority in business administration. So feel free, four of you, to respond to this question.
I'd just like to say one thing, that you may remember when I was trying to get an apology from my wife, and I used my own apology to try and make her say something nice to me, and it didn't work.
Not at all.
So I think the important thing, Nabila, is to do what you do unconditionally. I hope everybody understands that word. Because if it's unconditional, then you will do it whether you get a good response or you get no response or a bad response. And I think that's a very important thing about life, that whatever we do with all our heart, and because we know it's the right thing, not because we want a good response. If we get a good response, that's wonderful, but it needs to be something that we do because we feel we're meant to do it.
Yes.
And sometimes, this is a very, very good question, because sometimes the thing we are challenging or we feel to challenge, other people hold very important. And if they don't agree with us, it does not mean we're wrong. But if we hold to this truth, then often one person might quietly come to you and agree with you. And if just one person comes, two together can be very strong. If one person doesn't come, it doesn't matter, because you have been true to what you feel is right. And you don't know how that challenge to others can be used. It will remain with them if it's really, if they were really challenged. They won't forget it. So you have given them a gift.
Yes.
Anybody else want to respond?
Yeah, I think sometimes also, you know, you might be in an environment where they won't support you, or they have different values, and sometimes you need to think, well, where else could I, you know, find people that have the similar values as me, who could perhaps, you know, support me, and it's always good to have those other people who share, you know, like-minded people, like, for example, for us, like in Initiatives of Change, you know, who share our values and can support us on that journey.
Yes. Thank you, bro. Ruben, would you like to add?
I don't think I have anything to add on that one. I think people,
Okay, well,
right. Yeah.
any more question?
Me,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, what's your name? You want to express directly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Muhammad Anugrah Maulana.
Anugrah, can you show your picture?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hi. Hello.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, good to see you.
Hello.
My name is Muhammad Anugrah Maulana from Accounting, Tanri Abeng University. Talk about change begins with me. I always want to start to change my mind and take action to be better, which certainly to Indonesia. But right now, I feel I'm right in the toxic environment. I feel unable to move, and I am always overthinking every time I start my action. I always wonder if when I'll take an action, they will think I am worth, they will laugh of me and talk about me and other negative thinkings. I have tried to get rid of my negative thinking about them, but I can't. So my question is how to overcome my problem. Thank you.
Well, Pak Rob and Ibu Cheryl, my bro James and Ruben, before you respond the question to my lovely student M. Anugrah, we would like to invite every single of this webinar following our government advice. On this day, at the same hour, there was a big event happening in this country, initiated by Indonesian heroes who proclaimed the independence of Indonesia. So I would like to invite all participants to stand up in quiet in front of your computer just to reflect what the struggle and challenges to make this country free from colonialization. Let's do a moment of silence that going to be started now. Moment of silence started. Ari, can you help to show with the song as well?
Dari yakin
Well, you got the question from Anugrah, right? How to deal with the negative mood.
Yeah.
Can you, yes, can you respond it?
I think it's very normal and natural to feel a sense of negativity. And, you know, some days I feel quite negative in my attitude to the weather or to somebody who doesn't agree with me or to certain jobs I know I need to do, but I don't want to do them. You know, so negativity is a natural part of life, but it's our choice whether we decide to be controlled by that. So for me, the important thing is to stop and reflect. Let my heart speak to me and find out what I'm meant to do instead of feeling negative. You know, maybe there's a step I can take, a step that will help me to break free from that spirit of negativity. And very often it's just a simple action, but I need to take time. This is why we have a time of quiet reflection, because it often stops that feeling of negativity and downness and gives us a chance to find freedom and to also find what we're meant to do instead. So, you know, for me, I think that's been really important. And many days I have that choice to make. Many times a day, sometimes I have that choice to make. And so yes, that's what I'd say. And you know, I speak as somebody who's also experienced bullying, can try and control from others. But I think the freedom of spirit that we can find when we listen to our hearts and learn to be guided by that source is a wonderful thing. Something I can recommend for everybody. Yeah.
Can I
Yes.
can I just add to that?
Please.
I personally have a lot of those sort of negative thoughts as well, and whenever I go to do something, there's a lot of that negative thinking, and the way in which we addressed it was how do I deal with this problem, and how do I get rid of these negative thoughts? And if you could come up with an answer, like, that'd be great, because I haven't found the answer for that. I don't think you can get it's not so much the process of getting rid of the negative thoughts first before you then move on to what you do. I think it's about doing what you do whilst letting those negative thoughts and those thinking be there, and accepting that they're there while still moving on and continuing doing what you do, because that's really important, that you continue doing what you do, and especially if you love doing what you do. Yeah, so I think I just noticed a little bit in the way you addressed it of like trying to sort that problem out, and I don't know if it's so much of a problem that you should think about trying to sort out, because it's hard. It's always, we never know what other people are really thinking, you know, as well. So yeah, and it's hard to change that too. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing, you know, really focus on that. Yeah.
Thank you, bro.
I think that's important to, you know, not let your feelings, you know, define you or to stop you from moving forwards. And yes, we'll have our ups and our downs, and there's a couple of things that I've found helpful that I've also learning in the coaching is when at least in English, when we say, I am depressed or I am feeling negative or something, we're using the words I am, and you say I am sad. But if we change it just slightly and say I am having the feeling of sadness, we can realize that we are, we're humans, we're experiencing some feelings and emotions, but it's not who we are. And it will pass, the feelings will pass as well. So I think that's also really an important distinction to have. And I've also found for myself, being someone in IT, I tend to think a lot, and it's very easy for me to when I have a negative thought, I keep analyzing it, and then it gets bigger and bigger. So I'm not sure if you have that kind of problem, but one thing that helps for me is, change my focus, switch my focus to something else. I can decide what I choose. I can choose what to focus on. And that's why I think I mentioned, gratitude. And so this is something like a daily habit that I developed so that I can, in the morning, think of, just what are 3 things I can be grateful for today. And then my mind is then, focusing on these questions and not focusing on, being worried about, doing a speech in front of everyone today, for example. Yeah. I hope that helps.
Okay, thank you, James. We have more question here from Dimas. How to build confidence after we got failure and try how to move on. Might be related with what James just said, right? How to build confidence.
Yeah, I think one thing that's at least in my culture, I'm not sure in Indonesia, but we, like when I was growing up, we were taught that, failure is bad. If you get, a cross on your exam, that's, you should do better. What I'm learning now is actually failure is a really good thing, because it means I am trying something new, or I'm stepping out, and then I am learning. And so I now have a new kind of philosophy, and it's like fail forwards. Well, let's see how fast I can fail and move forward and get on to the next thing. And if I do not try, I think that's the worst case, just to stay safe.
Yeah, I think clear enough the answer from James. Well, I also see here the question from my colleague, Ibu Sian Indriani. Ibu Sian, would you like to express directly to our speaker with regard your question posted in the box chat? Halo Bu Sian. Are you there? Okay, let me read her question. I'm aware that seeking for wisdom of our heart is the most challenging in our relationship with others. How do we know that what we are feeling and what is supposed to say what is right to others people? You got the point? How to know through our feeling is the right to other people as well. Ibu Cheryl, can you respond it?
That's a very challenging question, because how can I know what is right for another person? I'm not sure I can really. I can see I can see sometimes another person's actions have consequences that are not good.
Mhm.
And I can ask, one thing I'm learning is to ask questions, ask curious questions. Instead of saying to somebody, I think that what you did was wrong, or what you said was wrong, I think I should ask a question such as, can you tell me why you said that?
Mhm.
Can you tell me why you did that? Because then I can begin to understand the other person. Yeah, so it's not my natural way of working, I must admit. I'm having to learn to do this, because sometimes I see something very clearly and I think that's wrong. Kaplonk.
Mm.
But I don't think that is helpful or healthy for the other person. So asking questions to learn what the other person is really thinking or feeling, I think, can be very, very helpful.
Mhm.
The other thing I would just add is that there are two important things about our communications with others, or probably many more than two. But the first one is, what do we want to say, and what do we feel will encourage a better relationship? And then secondly, when should we be saying what we want to say? And I think the what and the when are both important, because somebody may not be in a receptive mood just because we feel that there's something we've got to say to them. It may land, as we say in English, on deaf ears if we do it at the wrong time. So I think, and I think that's why I would come back to that point about the importance of reflective time, because you can very often get a sense when you're reflective about what you should say, the right thing that will be appreciated by the other person, and also the right time, so that when you share this thing, the other person can receive it as a gift. So I think, those are also probably important to consider.
Yes. Thank you, Pak Rob. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are now 10:30. We are running out the time. So sorry, I can't facilitate all the questions already posted in the box chat here, but we will do communication through email or through social Facebook. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we end this session, I realized that Pak Rob and James Gardiner are skillful in playing piano, while Pak Rob not only good in composing the song, but also singing the song. I heard and also I noticed that Pak Rob can sing over 100 songs in different languages, including Indonesian song. So why not we challenge them to perform their skill in front of us?
So have we got time for two things, for James's piano playing and for this song, or?
We will accommodate it, yes.
Okay, all right. So James, please, why don't you start?
Okay, you sure? We got time?
Yes.
Oh. Good.
I think James is frozen.
Mum?
Yes.
I think James is frozen, so maybe we'll do the other one.
Okay.
I mean, if he wants to, if he gets back onto the Zoom again, we can have him, and please encourage everybody to join in singing this song, okay?
Okay, yes.
Because it's a song which I love, and of course it's in Bahasa.
Let's sing together. The title of the song.
Kehilang si Rama Rama, pulang Marina pulang bersama-sama. Kehilang si Patu kehilang si Rama Rama, pulang Marina pulang bersama-sama. Pulang Marina pulang bersama-sama.
Pak Rob, do you know the meaning with that song?
I think it's a farewell song. I don't know all the words, but I get a sense that it's a song of greeting and of joyfulness, but also a song which people sing before they part from each other. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Okay. Well, James coming. We love to see his performance playing piano.
I think.
Hello, bro.
Here he is. You're muted, James.
Sorry.
Hello, bro. Yes. Okay, good.
Okay, so actually I think I've got some network issues, so I think I'll have to pass, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So, may I take the chance just to say a few words for Mum?
Oh, yes, please.
I'd just like to say a very grateful thank you to all those who've helped to organize today's program. And thank you to each one of you who's come to be with us today. We are so glad to share this time with you. And we hope we will have the opportunity to see you again. I'd also like to encourage you to try out the IofC way of life that we've tried to share with you, especially the idea of spending time in silence, reflecting, and letting your heart speak to you. It may give you ideas about how to make the changes you'd like to see, and it may give you some ideas too about what direction your life is meant to take. Like mine has been largely about two things: building and strengthening community, and developing positive leadership in people. So, as the saying goes, stay tuned. You will find that just like any other muscle in your body, the spirit muscle, or the muscle of the heart, takes time to grow. But if you use it every day, it will grow and it will serve you well. Now, if you enjoyed the music this morning, you have the chance, if you wish, through Pak Umam, to get a copy of my CD. I have a CD of my songs. So if you would like one, I think we give you for a special bargain price of $10 Australian. If anybody has difficulty, that's fine. We'll work out a different price. But anyway, we want to give you that opportunity if you'd like to. It's called Signposts Along the Journey of Life. Each song has a message to remember, and they're written in different styles of music so that people can enjoy that. So these are our contact details that are just now on the screen. And if you'd like to keep in touch or to tell us any questions or ask anything you'd like, please feel welcome to do so. Okay? So terima kasih to you all.
Yes, following what Pak Rob mentioned, so this is a good opportunity for everyone of us here. The normal price actually 20 Australian dollar, right?
Yeah.
So this is a good opportunity for us. Since most of the participants here are my students, you can just approach me if you like to purchase the CD, compile of the song composed by Pak Rob. Well, James, how are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Would you try to play or?
Unfortunately, my laptop has some issues.
Okay, yes. Okay. Okay. Or you want to say something before we end this session?
Yeah, well, I hope I can play again next time, and really love the questions coming through. Some really great questions. Hope we can maybe answer some of them a bit later. And yeah, hope to see each other before long in Indonesia itself.
Yes.
Yes.
That would be wonderful.
Yes. Ibu Cheryl, Pak Rob, you want to say you yet?
It's been a privilege to be with you today and wonderful to see friends I haven't seen for ages.
Yes,
Ruben?
thank you, Ibu. How is Ruben?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I hope the rest of the Independence Day today goes well. So
Yes.
enjoy, and perhaps we'll meet in the future sometime.
Sure.
And
Well,
do get in touch with us if you'd like to.
yes.
You're most welcome.
Well, ladies
And we
and
believe that
gentlemen,
Australia and Indonesia have a future to build together.
yes. Well, following what Yofrina mentioned, a lady from Initiative of Change, all of you here are most welcome to be part of the community Initiative of Change Indonesia. So I strongly support you to be part of this movement to promote a change or the agents of change maker that start from each of you. You can join the Saturday gathering. We have many programs here in Indonesia organized by Initiative of Change, such as youth camp, Saturday gathering, or you can also join other programs facilitated or organized by the network of Initiative of Change in different parts of the world. We have a number of programs like internship program, leadership training, like meta course organized regularly in Australia by Initiative of Change. And you can also search and check in the website of Initiative of Change. And we all have the copy that will pass soon. so we can enjoy the life freely, like what we have before the COVID happened to us. Now, we are in the ultimate of this session. On behalf of TAU Language Center, student of Tanri Abeng University, the initiative of change, I would like to say thank you so much, especially for our distinguished speaker from Initiative of Change Indonesia. We really appreciate for your precious time that you spent with us. We had great session with you. Your sharing give us a lot of inspiration, enlightenment, wisdom, and also we have a lot of fun, especially with the song that Pak Rob sang it. Well, hope we can see you again physically in the future in Jakarta, especially for my new bro, Ruben. Please plan in ahead to visit Jakarta, especially our university, Tanri Abeng University. And let us again give the big applause for our speaker. Clap, clap, clap.
Thank you.
Well,
what about a photo? Do we have a
yes,
photo
we will
together?
have a picture. We have a picture. Please turn on your camera and show your smile and beautiful teeth. Ari will manage for this photo. Please show your smile, please.
Okay, so we have two pages in here for photo group. Please raise up and turn on your camera. Okay, I'm going to count down and 3, 2, 1. First page is done. Next page. Oh, okay. Every person in the first page start open camera. Okay. Okay. Ready again. Open camera again. Coming up. Okay, I'm waiting. There's left 3 more. Okay, I think this is enough. 1, 2, and 3. Here we go. Page 2. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, thank you very much.
Well, thank you everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks
Merdeka.
so much.
Merdeka.
Bye.
Merdeka. Yeah. Take care.
Bye.
Many blessings. God bless.
Thank you, Pak Rob, Ibu Cheryl, Ruben, and James.
Thank you, y'all.
Wonderful to be with you. Yeah. So glad.
See you later.
Thanks for your care.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Speak soon.
Speak soon, yeah.
Thanks a lot.